Now, again, as we put the radiator fan on, this is just more lines to keep straight. But that's just a basic rule of the train, is that you're just looking for lines to keep straight, and here there's lines going in both directions up at the very tip top corner, the radiator, and there's a lot of tiny little lines. As you notice, it's taking me a long time generally to do this, and there's tiny little lines. And I've always found this is one of the main areas when you have these little tiny lines, there's a tendency to go boom, 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 to want to just do them really fast. But if you're patient with those little lines, it makes them look a lot tighter, because they need to be close together, not necessarily close together, but they need to be evenly spaced. That's the best way to describe it. Because if you make them evenly spaced, the thing is that if they're evenly spaced, your eye, as I said about these other grills over on this step over here, your eye starts to catch those little grill lines, and it's amazing, because one of the main areas you think is going to catch everybody's attention is the paint scheme. But if you have these little grills all over your engine, and they have these little diagonal little lines that aren't quite working, and they're just in all different kinds of directions, and they're different spaces apart from each other, it really detracts from the overall look of the engine. And another area where I'm going to be doing this, I'm putting the frame, you know, the actual side of the frame now. I said I was doing the frame in the beginning, but this is the actual side of the frame. I put that on in the very end. I just put the essence of the frame in the beginning. But these steps actually going up to the engine, there are basically 6 steps. And again, the steps, you know, you can measure them, and basically as you measure them, it's important that the steps are all evenly spaced, because the steps in the end, on older engines, a lot of times the steps were just the basic color of the engine. They were, if the step area was black, the steps would be black. So because there wasn't the emphasis on safety that modern trains have. But like on this Florida East Coast engine, if you look, the steps are bright yellow, which is the color of the safety sill on the side. And so what's going to happen is that these steps are going to stand out. And it's important when you look at the engine as you draw it to say, what areas are going to stand out? And if you say to yourself, well, I know these steps are going to stand out, so I probably want to make them be straight and evenly spaced, because just looking at that, they kind of stand out. You know, they're right at the front, right at the back. So that's sort of an area, considering that they don't shout out any part of the real paint scheme. But if those are diagonal, and if they're different spaces, you know, there's sort of again, they don't look like a machine built them. They just sort of